Yo, what's happening everybody? King GBL here, and welcome back to a brand new Go Bat Like video. Today I'm going to be showcasing my run to Expert. This is actually my first ever time hitting Expert. I started making YouTube videos just before the end of last season, and last season I hit Veteran for the first time ever. To be honest with you, I didn't think I was going to hit Expert this season. Originally it was my goal, of course Veteran, Expert, and then maybe go on and try to get Legend next season. But I was stuck in the 2250s up until around a week ago. Until I started running Ducklet Double Grass in the Element Cup, which actually gained me about 500 elo. I was around 2230, and it's got me up to in around 2700, so close to 500 elo gains on that. And today we actually managed to get over the line in the Catch Cup. Sorry for the lack of uploads this week. I have been sick, and also of course with the Element Cup, there's not really been a whole lot to make content on. I don't really have a lot built for Master League either. But now that I've hit Expert, I'm going to be messing around with all of the stupid Pokemon that I've caught this season and powered up for absolutely no reason other than making a video. And of course we'll look to go for Legend next season. I want to say a quick thank you to everybody who's been kind of cheering me on to get Expert this season. It was looking pretty slow, like I said. You know, that gain of about 400 to 500 elo in that 1 week was pretty unexpected, and I was kind of starting to lose a little bit of faith in it. I could try to make a Legend push, but at this point I'm pretty happy with how I've done. We'll see how things go, and if I do manage to start gaining close to like 2900, I think at that point my competitive instincts will take over and I'll start grinding to get Legend this season, but I'm not going to hold my breath on that. Today's question of the day is, what goals did you set yourself for this season and have you managed to hit it? We were actually watching somebody in Discord yesterday hitting Ace, and of course other people have been in there trying to hit Expert, Veteran, whatever it may be. If you feel like you want some live feedback on your gameplay and a little bit of help with counting and all these other things, feel free to join us in Discord, and you're able to stream your sets in there, and we will hop in, and it's kind of a nice kind of fun thing as well that a lot of us like to do. Feel free to come in if you're interested, and let's hop into the gameplay. So the first thing I'm going to say about this gameplay is we're getting the excuses out of the way, right? Even though I hit Expert, it doesn't mean I played well, because I don't think I did play well. I was playing these matches first thing this morning, like 4:50 AM my first battles were. I went 3-2, then 2-3, and then I think I went 3-2 again, and then we got a more positive set to hit Expert. So hopping into this match right here, we had a Dunsparce, which I'm seeing a lot of people have built it this season, which is kind of nice. Of course it's become more popular with the Play Pokemon tournaments, and a lot of people have caught it and built it this season. Definitely a very good Pokemon to build. I highly recommend it. I actually highly recommend checking out some of the videos I've made on it too. But we Earthquake this. Now I'm expecting them to come in and go for the drill run, so I think what I decide to do here is go into Noctowl and look to catch potentially a drill run. They overfarmed a ton at the start, and yeah, they do go for the Rock Slide, so nice patience. I ended up throwing one and CMPing, so maybe I could have tried to go for the CMP there, or you know, try to throw first. We're gonna go for a Shadow Ball on the Stunfisk, and this should be looking hopefully okay here. We do have a Stunfisk of our own, but you know, this is just gonna come down to 50-50. So I'm hoping this Rock Slide doesn't take out. It does not. I actually invested in a whole new Noctowl, which is not even better than the one I've got. So it was kind of a bit of a waste here, honestly, but I wanted to make sure to hit Expert. And at this point we're going to come into Stunfisk, because like even if they EQ me, like I can just shield it up, or even if the Rock Slide beat it, we can just shield it up and look to farm down. So that worked out fine there. Just a little bit of sort of touch on the Pokemon here. This is a Diggersby that I just built this season. I had a Hundo Diggersby, which you guys might have seen. And this is a Stunfisk I'm going to build for Ultra League. It is 15, 14, 15, but I think functionally it's exactly the same. Like, it's got the same stat product, so I'm absolutely fine with that. Of course there will be one scenario where it's probably worse, but I'm happy enough to build that, considering I've hunted them for ages and not got a Hundo. And of course you can best buddy that and get that up an extra level anyway, so I don't think it'll make a huge difference. And I wanted to use this team because Noctowl Double Ground is just super strong, especially with Diggersby Quick Attack, who can flip switch. In comes Revenant. There's just nothing they can do here at this point. We've pretty much RPS'd this win, and yeah, there's what do they actually have in the back? I'm not paying a lot of attention here actually. They might have something else in the back, but obviously we're going to come in with Noctowl. What I decided to do here is go for the Shadow Ball, because I know that I can just farm this Revenant down, and this energy is much more valuable going into the Lantern in my opinion. Like, even though this potentially one-shots, it gives me an opportunity to like go for baits and just chip it with fire punches. So that's what I decided to start doing here. The opponent kind of like, they could make a call, but like I don't even know if it would really help them at this point, because these quick attacks are just adding up. Of course like mud shots would be a little bit better for adding up, but you know, we can just chill here. I decided to go for the Earthquake this time in case the opponent tries to find a win condition here. They do shield it, which maybe is their win condition, but I think we can even just let one of these go. Like, 2 Surfs takes out Diggersby after a while. Like, look at the Surf go through. We're in about 55% health here roughly. Yeah, like that doesn't even do that much. So you're gonna see me here like stuttering and pausing. I was trying to wait the turn, and the opponent makes the catch on a nice time there. I decided to fully undercharge that, knowing that we can just farm the whole way down, and we can get a Shadow Ball for the Lantern anyway. So this is absolutely no problem whatsoever. Trevenant can't really do anything. Another Shadow Ball would not have taken us out. Fun fact, if you can only get off one move, Shadow Ball does more raw damage. So throw Shadow Ball against Noctowl if you want to do the most damage. Generally you just throw Seed Bombs against it if you're like locked in against it, but yeah, we go for 3-2 here. I think I edited out some of the losses because I probably was potatoing. And we're hopping into the next one here. We get a nice positive lead with Scrafty, which they probably just caught today. In comes Toxapex. And these brines, they add up, but like they're not really threatening the Galarian Stunfisk. Some people ask me when to bait and when not to bait. In my opinion, this is a foolish time to bait because they have a really good answer for Stunfisk. So it would make sense for them just to let this go. Toxapex is super bulky, right? And at this point, like what I decide to do here is just try to let them get off another brine. Like I could have went straight for the Rock Slide. I'm happy enough for them just to get us a bit lower, and I'm going to build up to the back-to-back Rock Slides here, even do a little bit of chip on Scrafty, and try to, you know, not let them take us out, but at the same time not let them get a ton of farm. So they will get a couple of counters free here, and we'll do a little chip on them. Now they're probably instantly going to swap out, but they do not. Fun fact about Scrafty, they can 2-shield Power Punch for a Noctowl, so that's kind of hilarious. So what I'm eventually going to do here is not let that happen, in case Noctowl is strong against something else in the back, and they're not swapping straight out here as well. So we're going to shield up here, and look to go for another Sky Attack, and then at this point, get their final shield and swap out. Sky Attack going through here, let's see if the opponent shields it up, of course they do. And I'm like, right, Diggersby's a thick boy. I love this Pokemon so much after building it. It's so much better than like bad IVs. The opponent can't stay in here, I'm just going to get rid of this thing, just in case I've made a mistake. You know, like, I just want to keep Noctowl with some health, just in case. And look how much damage they've done to our Diggersby. So this is looking cool already, like, we've got an Earthquake here. The opponent CMPs us, which is perfectly fine. They'll go for a Crunch, we'll go for an Earthquake. And it looks like the opponent really did just catch these Pokemon in the last day or two, and build this team. So, like, any ground Pokemon guys that you have are going to be super, super strong here. Because if you think about what's spawning, right? You might have people doing what I do, and basically look to build something for Ultra League, and power it up to Great League, and use it that way, and then power it up later on. So that's a really good thing to do for Catch Cup. If you want to build like a Drapion for Ultra League, or a Stunfisk for Ultra League or something, do it that way. Even if you want to build like a Hundo Lantern for Ultra League or something, that's a really good smart consideration. So look at what you want to build for Ultra League, look at the IVs, and put those IVs into a Great League format and just use it for this week, and then power them up eventually. It's kind of like a future investment. You're playing with maybe bad IVs, but I don't think anybody's playing with amazing IVs this week. Except for me with Diggersby, who is just absolutely feasting in this cup. Now, as you guys have seen before, Diggersby can beat Noctowl with Quick Attack. They did some extra damage to me, but I've already got 2 Fire Punches loaded, so that sort of cancels out the damage, kind of. I feel like they're just a little bit too far ahead here still though. They probably could win in even shields. I think I might shield here eventually, because look how low we're getting them, they haven't even got a move off yet. They have overfarmed. But yeah, I decided to shield here at this point, try to take switch advantage if possible. We do CMP here, which is a little bit unfortunate, and I decide to let the next Sky Attack go through. As you can see, we can live it, and if they let this go through, it will be looking very, very close to like a Simul KO. Since we're not getting switch, I decide to get extra energy on Noctowl. We draw back out the Lantern, and we can live our Thunderbolt and look to chip this thing, and then maybe look to farm it down with Stunfisk. So we know the opponent has a Lantern, which is potentially a core breaker for this team, of course. Knowing Surf, which can take on our 2 back Pokemon, and of course with the Thunderbolts doing damage to Noctowl. But the opponent gets pretty greedy here and actually lets me get off that move and ends up CMPing. So the opponent maybe could have just got rid of my Noctowl a bit sooner, I think. But we're going to come in here with Stunfisk, look to farm it the whole way down, and just hope to sweep with this Pokemon. Now the awkward thing is they still have health on their Noctowl, which is really, really awkward to deal with these 2 Pokemon. And especially because my Diggersby is such low health. So it means like I have to Rock Slide this Noctowl, like that's what I come in and try and do, go for the quick attacks. And I'm like, can I still farm this down? I sort of have to shield this, like the Shadow Ball will get me into farm down range for just about any Pokemon. And in comes their own Stunfisk. So, good game to the opponent. 1 Earthquake won't even take out. I think the opponent, they let it go knowing that they won't even take out. So, well played to the opponent there. Definitely a little bit tough alignment there, but maybe I could have done some things a little bit better. Come to think of it, like I'm just trying to think, what could I have done better? Maybe just like not losing switch there would have been maybe the way to win that match. I probably could have just committed to it a little bit harder, because I think maybe my quick attacks could have been doing more damage, and it looked like I was actually kind of in the driver's seat, so maybe I could have just took switch. But here, the opponent's not taking switch on this one, let me tell you that, folks. Earthquake number 1 coming through. Actually, this might be the game where I make another big mistake. It might be this one. We're over farming here as well, just in case they let it go. They probably should just be letting this go. Yep, and I think one Fire Punch will just about take out. Maybe it's a different game I'm thinking of, but look at this, 2 Earthquakes going through. Does not even take out Diggersby. We do not want to let them get to the Rock Slide, because that will threaten to take us out, and the opponent doesn't go for a shield. I was expecting them to start shielding there, because they have, of course, the Trevenant. We do get off a Fire Punch. It won't do the most damage to this thing, and the opponent will not shield it because we have a Noctowl. So they're basically just hoping that Trevenant can sweep whatever we have in the back, but in comes Bastiodon. Look at this disgusting dinosaur on my screen. Get this thing off my screen right now. This is a freshly built, I wonder is it freshly built for this cup or just freshly built this season? Bastiodon. Ladies and gentlemen, Bastiodon is just about to get absolutely shit all over by Stunfisk. We don't even have to bait here, ladies and gents. We don't even have to throw in good timing. I think it did throw in good timing, but we don't even have to. In comes Trevor, and see you later. Good night. I think we can all agree that the trainer got what they deserved, and let's move on to the next one here. You know, if you didn't tell already, if you can't tell, I am not a big fan of Bastiodon. Dunsparce, interesting lead here. Let's see how we play this one out. I do like to stay in here for a minute here. I do try to catch. See, I was not catching well there because... Okay, well, I did catch well somehow because the opponent, I guess, did not pay enough attention to that one. But here's the thing, right? If you're going to try and catch against Dunsparce at the higher elos, you should be throwing 1, 3, and 5 rollouts for good timing. So trying to catch after 4 is like, you're not really going to catch properly on that. They shouldn't really be throwing. And what I decided to do in this Bruxish is go for the Fire Punch bait. Because this thing, the reason they're using this Pokemon is to take Switch, basically. This thing can Psychic Fangs and Confusion through anything that's not a Steel type or that doesn't resist Psychic, basically. So that's their whole plan with this. So maybe I could have went for another one, but then they give up Switch, which is like, right, right, okay. And I think I'd try to go for another catch here eventually. I can live 1 Rock Slide off this thing. The second one will look to take me out. We're going to fire off a Scat Attack, which will put a massive chip into this little thing. And I think we might try to go for a catch here, thinking that they're going to have to throw here. Now this will be a drill run. I decided to respect it, thinking that maybe it's the hardest hitting move left in the game. Maybe it's the hardest hitting move, and they are going to get to another one here anyway. So yeah, we eat that. My IVs are just not built for that. And I decide, I think I waited a turn there to make sure they don't catch. And yeah, we do almost take it out. I decided to go for a Rock Slide here, which you shouldn't really do. But what I'm really trying to do is burn my clock and get back into Noctowl, but it's just not happening here, unfortunately. And basically what we need to do is farm this thing the whole way down, but Bruxish comes straight back in, and we just reach the Sky Attack. If we were ahead by 1 more turn there, and we would be able to take this thing out. The Psychic Fangs go through, and unfortunate. So I don't know about that one. Like, what could I have done better there? I caught the Rock Slide on the Diggersby. Maybe I could have looked to bait twice, but they're doing so much damage with Confusion and Psychic Fangs. You know, so that team is designed just to be RPS like that. So it was just a rough one, honestly. So yeah, in comes another Dunsparce. I decide to throw here after 7. That should be them basically at 15 turns. I throw 1 and then wait and then catch. I did not catch this time, but in comes Lantern, and this is absolutely fine for Diggersby. It'll take more than 2 surfs to take us out. As you can see, that does not even get us into the yellow, and the sparks are not adding up too much. So we should be able to get off maybe 2 Earthquakes. I think the opponent realizes it and decides to let it go. Now, I do decide to let this go. I hardly ever shield Diggersby, but I wouldn't mind shielding in here, honestly, because it's quite good against Dunsparce. My thinking here is I'll get off another move, and yeah, they come in CMP, unfortunately. I do want to get off this Earthquake on this thing, and I was trying to swap out, but I had already hit CMP. And we'll see if this Earthquake takes out. Just if it doesn't, we both swap out at the same time, and in comes Noctowl. So this is looking like a good one for us. We have, of course, a Stunfisk in the back, and a little bit of health and energy on Diggersby. So we can just basically let everything go. My only goal here is to get this into double Rock Slide range, and if the opponent starts shielding up here, they're going to be in trouble, basically. So yeah, this is pretty much good games. Like, we lost lead there, but we did make a good swap, and speaks to how powerful Diggersby is. That was 2 super effective surfs at 8 from a Lantern, and like, they could have took Switch if they really wanted to, but that Earthquake just done so much damage to them, they would have had to invest multiple shields in there. And of course they maybe wanted to save shields for like Noctowl and Dunsparce, so maybe it's understandable. Of course we had Stunfisk as well, so maybe Stunfisk getting ahead on a ton of energy against the Lantern as well may not have been ideal for the opponent. So yeah, you know, you could say the opponent maybe could have just tried to take Switch there, but I think it just really speaks to the power of Diggersby and being able to eat 2 surfs, come out with a little bit of health, and I think it even got another move off. So just an amazing Pokemon. So right here, we're just going to be rock sliding this thing, and that's going to be a good game. And yeah, let's hop into the next one, see how we get on. So we went 3-2 that set, and that's just not quite enough here at this moment. We're on about 27-20, I think, at the moment, as we're watching this, and it's just not quite enough to get me up there. So we really do need that like that 4-1 set, or just multiple free 2s. Kind of makes me a little bit sad how little you gain from free 2. And yeah, you can see my elo on screen here. 27-35. Maybe like 2 more free 2s would get me there, or like a good free 2, if you know what I mean, where I beat like a higher elo player, because I think that's taken into consideration. And in comes Victory Bell, ladies and gents. We come in with Diggersby here. I'm going to be real with you guys, I don't know what's best against Umbreon. I think perhaps maybe Sky attacking it, because like Noctowl was Victory Bell anyway. Perhaps Sky attacking it, and then coming in Diggersby to guarantee it, would have been better, because the opponent, they shield up the first Earthquake. Opponents very seldomly shield up the first one, which is why you basically never beat Umbreon. But they do shield up this one, so I realize the opponent wants to take Switch here and RPS the shit out of me. So I'm thinking, right, please don't shield up this one. If they do let another Earthquake through, or even if they do shield it, like up 2 shields, I feel like Diggersby can take this thing out anyway. I start shielding now, because I'm not letting this happen. I'm expecting there to be a Bastiodon at this point, because why would there not be? There's Victory Bell in the lead. We can go for Fire Punches now, because the opponent is getting pretty low. It is bulky, but it's not this bulky where, you know, we can't farm it down and stuff. And even though we have no shields left, we're going to see the bulk of Diggersby here. Bulk versus bulk. That actually done more damage than I thought. This might be like more of an attack-weighted Umbreon. The opponent's coming back in with Victory Bell, and they do shield this, which is quite surprising, and then they come into Lantern. We'll come into Stunfisk here. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Lantern wins the 0 shield. 1 Surf coming for, yeah, so it looks like they would win the 0 shield, which is crazy. And these Sparks they've got a breakpoint on the Spark, because of course I don't have the 0 attack. That actually just one-shots them though, almost. So maybe like, I don't know, maybe it's just better to have this one. They actually don't 2-shot us. They're gonna see Noctowl again, and I think the opponent's maybe not aware of the button on the top left, but we're going to make them aware here and just Sky attack them out. They're going for a bit of an RPS team there. At least it wasn't Bastiodon, you have to give credit where it's due. At least it was not Bastiodon, but they're trying to just RPS some wins with Victory Bell there. I'm usually just not a big fan of those teams. I think it is just rolling a dice, or even just flipping a coin would be more accurate, whether you win games or not. Positive lead win, negative lead loss, like, that's not really how I enjoy playing this game. But in comes Noctowl versus Diggersby. Now, I'm assuming here that they've got Mudshot, because they could stay in here, and in comes Galarian Slowbro. Now, this thing does no Focus Blast, which I learned actually later on, and of course Surf. We'll see how much this Surf does. Yeah, so it'll take more than 2 Surfs to take us out. I'm happy enough just to let the second one go through, because we do have an answer for the front, so like we're cool here. We'll farm up to almost 100 energy, go for the Earthquake. The opponent's kind of win condition here is to call bait. I'm not masturbating, just in case Jimmy Finn's watching, and we're going to go ahead and get off an Earthquake, but the opponent does go for the CMP. Our high rank kind of hurts us in that situation, and honestly, arguably I should go for a shield here, but I think it's absolutely fine. And we RPS the backline here, and guys, like, listen, go for double ground in this cup if you can. It is super, super strong. Again, like, you've got a ton of poison types spawning. You have lanterns, you know, which people are building. Galarian Stunfisk is amazing in this cup. Even actually Unovan Stunfisk would be really good in this cup. So those are 2 Pokemon to really consider using if you want to make a bit of a climb in this cup. It's highly unlikely that people have got Medicham. They will have it, some people will have it, and you will have to deal with it, but you know, that's what Noctowl's there for, and oftentimes you do see Medi in the lead. We're just going straight for the Shadow Ball. Once again, Jamie, if you're watching, we're just not doing it, right? We're not doing it. We're going to eat this Surf, and we'll see if the opponent wants to stay in or swap out or whatever. We go for the full farm down, not before the opponent gets off another Surf, but as you can see from the first one, we can handily eat these. Now the opponent comes in with not Toxapex, Tentacruel, and I think I probably should just swap straight out here instead of going for the Sky attack, because like 1 EQ takes this thing out anyway, so that's unnecessary energy dumped into this thing. And yeah, the opponent's going to go for a Scald, which honestly done more than I expected. In comes Golbat. Now, believe it or not, because this is joined poison typing, it's only single resisting the Earthquakes, so it is more energy efficient to go for Earthquake here. So I decide I'll go for 1 Earthquake, which will do the most amount of damage, and with these quick attacks going through here, this Fire Punch will look to get this thing very, very close to taking out. Again, this Pokemon, or this opponent, has built this team today or in the last couple of days. Fire Punch going through, this will almost take them out. They shield it up. I was going to swap out, but then I'm like, no, I'll just keep Switch here. We go for Noctowl here, and I'm more than happy for a bit of an overfarm here, and I think I even swap out. that was kind of the plan there, just to get like a Shadow Ball loaded, and then look to farm down here. This will only be a Poison Fang, which of course will lower our defense, but that's absolutely fine. Back in comes Tentacruel. Again, we're not baiting, we're going straight for it. Ladies and gents, this opponent has seen some Master Beaters in their day. They decided to let it go, and we take that match. So we're looking very positive here so far in this next set, and let's hop into the next one and see how it goes. I think definitely in the last month or two, I bait way less. Like, I used to bait quite often, thinking it's like, oh, they have to shield. That's the exact reason not to bait, because people are just wise to it, and people's win condition sometimes is for you to bait. So more often than not, I do go for the harder hitting move, unless it's just like super needed. In comes the Stunfisk. I go straight into Diggersby here. Arguably I could go into my own Stunfisk, but I'm not trying to play that 50-50 matchup. I was expecting a catch on something like a Noctowl, so I decided to overfarm, make sure they don't go for a catch. The opponent has an Earthquake loaded, so that will be awkward to deal with a little bit later on, so I might have to try to catch it if I can on Noctowl, or look to work around that. Now what I'm thinking here at this point is, I've spammed off so many Fire Punches already, they've only got off their first Sky Attack here, or maybe it was a 2 Sky Attack, sorry. I can actually maybe look to swap out here, so I think I let this one go, and I go ahead and swap into Noctowl, keep a little bit of energy in Diggersby in case I need it for Stunfisk, and at this point I'm absolutely fine with this. They'll dump 2 Rock Slides into this, actually they'll need 3 to take it out, and if we can get off 2 Shadow Balls, it'll be in Fire Punch range. So if the opponent does get a little bit too greedy here, this could work against them. And I can see that we're getting a Wing Attack breakpoint here as well, because the opponent's maybe looking, you know, to have like an Ultra League one as well. Wisely, the opponent decides to fire off the Rock Slide, but I'm going to put the pressure on them now and go for the Shadow Ball, see what the opponent wants to do. Because again, like, you know, this thing can do a lot of damage to our backline, and at this point, I'm very happy with this. We can come in and look to farm down. They have a Noctowl in the back, and we have a Fire Punch loaded. Now we'll see what the opponent comes in with here. It is a Lantern. We're going to fire off the EQ straight away. Hopefully that wasn't a catch by the opponent. I was a little bit afraid of that. And what I decide to do here is stay in here and basically get the opponent to throw off some energy. Yep, in comes the Surf, and we're going to come in with Glaring Stunfisk at this point. Now, do I go for the Master Bait, ladies and gents? That is the question. I can let this first Surf go through, but again, the opponent does have still energy on Noctowl. We farm up to the back-to-back right here, but I feel like this is just so much for my Stunfisk to take care of. The opponent shields it, and like, you might think, oh, why would they shield that? It kind of does make sense if you think about it. I think what I needed to do there after that situation was shield up their Sky Attack, and then overfarm, and make sure that I get to this Earthquake, but it was looking kind of awkward either way. Second Surf comes through and takes us out. We're already a little bit too low, and I definitely misplayed my energy there, and I think well played to the opponent. Maybe I should have just, you know, looked to swap straight out with Stunfisk, or play that a little bit differently, but yeah, unfortunately, they had a Stunfisk on our Noctowl lead, and we weren't able to turn it around in the middle game, so very well played to the opponent. And I think, again, if I managed my energy just a little bit better there, and played a little bit more smartly, I could maybe look to turn that match around. So that's a good thing about this team. Even against these sort of harder counter teams, you can look to turn things around. I decided to play this one a little bit differently. We're going to eat a Rock Slide on this thing, and look to go for a Shadow Ball. And I think I'm considering trying to catch a Rock Slide on Diggersby. And worst case scenario, they don't go for the Rock Slide, and we can look to, you know, overfarm and see what happens. We can eat two Earthquakes in this thing, so this is absolutely fine. And in comes the Lantern. So we're seeing this similar team composition again. Once again, I fall for CMP, which is not great. The opponent goes for Surf. We go for a Fire Punch bait this time. Oh, I was going to go for a bait, but then I do go for the Earthquake. The opponent shields it up, so it would have been a correct bait that time, because I think the opponents don't like to let their switch go whenever they're in a very dominant position. So I think that's a good position to go for a bait. Whenever the opponent will definitely want to take switch off you. So at this point we come in with Glaring Stunfisk, and we're going to look to maybe try to overfarm a little bit. Lantern's just kind of awkward. Like, even though we've got 2 ground Pokemon, it's still awkward to deal with. That's just why this Pokemon's so overpowered. The fact that this electric type is dealing with flyers, oh, they let that one go, which is nice. They're dealing with flyers and ground types, like, it's just an annoying Pokemon. In comes Drapion. I'm expecting them to catch an Earthquake, but can they really be catching Earthquakes on Glaring Stunfisk? I think not. So we just need to maintain an energy advantage here. So that's why I'm farming up to about 100, just to make sure that if the Stunfisk does come in, you know, we'll be in a good position to take it out. The opponent's firing off another move here. We will respect this crunch because it will look to probably take us out. And we do come into Noctowl here after banking an Earthquake. I knew that they were just about to reach their next move, so we do get that catch, which is quite nice. I'm going to look to Sky Attack this thing, and what I'm starting to think here is, this could start getting a little bit awkward where the opponent can overfarm and stuff like that. So I actually paused there. I was going to let them take out, but then we end up getting to the Shadow Ball on this thing. So it kind of worked out nicely. I was thinking about pausing and not letting them get a ton of energy, but the opponent is basically forced to throw here. They do not, and we get the Scat Attack off on Drapion. So what kind of confused me is them not coming back in with Stunfisk and coming in with Drapion. I think that was kind of weird by them. Maybe they could have looked to catch, I don't know. It was kind of awkward, they were just kind of weak to that. But guys, we get the 4-1 set, and we're going to have a look. What do we get here? Skarmory, not a Hundo. I do have a Hundo Skarmory for Ultra League eventually. And ladies and gents, we were on 27-35. Last season we had Veteran for the first time, and this season we had Expert for the first time. Guys, I hope you all enjoyed the video, man. Thank you everybody who's been supporting this channel for this season. I'm super happy to hit Expert, and like I said, a big thank you. As you can see, I'm going into Discord to let everybody know at this point. And yeah, man, thank you very much. I really do appreciate the support on these. If you haven't yet done so, hit that like button, subscribe, and if I start climbing a little bit more, I'll maybe look to push for a legend. If not, we'll be doing some stupid and fun teams this week, so stay tuned for that. Thank you everybody, and have a fantastic rest of your day.